podcast with your host, Denny in the Shrine. And Denny, I'm going to let you introduce our special guest today. Talk about our episode. What we got going?
What's going on, everyone? Thursday, August 21st, 1 p.m. We took about a month hiatus from recording. We are back. We're back with a new setup, a little new studio,
Yep.
and we're kicking off kind of our preseason with a hell of an episode coming on. We had this guest on last year in our first season, and since then, he has been doing great things as he's always been doing.
We're in a little bit different color red here.
Yep, different shade of red.
Different shade of red.
Yes, sir.
The Cardinal red.
Yep. And that is the boy, Alex Yano. Yano, how we doing, man?
Yana, welcome back, baby.
Fantastic. This was, when I was planning my vacation to get up here. I'm glad that this was one of the first texts. Gotta get some sort of arrangement, get on the pod again. And,
Damn straight, dude. We had it circled. For a while.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, my family and friends still listen to the original episode, and I didn't sound too much of a jackass. So we can repeat that today. We can do a good job.
Hey, absolutely. But first off, which we did not get to do with you last time, and we got another guest here, our buddy, Mr. Preston. Preston, you want to say hi on the mic real quick?
How we doing?
Welcome. Preston's just here for the shots, nothing else.
They need a professional.
We need a professional here, Mr. Nick Preston. Anyways, so this shot is for the Sonics, as we always do, boys. So bring them back. Here we go.
Bring them back.
Boom. All right.
Protein bar definitely saving the day there.
Let's go.
A little bit.
That's huge.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Let's get it started. Yano, last season, 21-14, 17-3 at home, ACC tournament, NIT. Just walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy year. I think it was my third straight season, moving to a different job. And obviously, Palo Alto, California is a lot different than Pullman, Washington. It didn't take me too long to figure that one out. So just getting moved down there, obviously just new school, new setup. And, a lot of my responsibilities last year is, daily operations. So trying to get to know the place and get to know the people and get to know the operation, get to know kind of how Stanford works. That was definitely a little bit of a challenge at the very start, but it was awesome. I think the best thing that we had as a group was that, Coach Smith, of course, got the job down there. He brought all of us down with him. So it was the same faces, we were working with, and obviously had so much success that year at Washington State that, just having that confidence in each other that, we kind of had the right formula going, and just kind of a new setting in a new area, and just kind of keep sticking to the roots of kind of our program. So obviously we had an incredible team last year, and, kind of led by our big man, Maxime Reynaud, who, went in second round. That's, I think, third straight year now we've had a draft pick, which has been really cool. And they're all, doing great things in their own right. But Max was a huge portion of what we did. We kind of played through him, and I mean, he was one of the best. I thought the best big in the country last year, but at least numbers wise, basically a double every single night, and was doing it against really quality competition as well. So it was a great year. I think it was hard to set expectations really at the beginning of the year with what was travel going to look like, what was these we weren't going to the normal Pac-12 road trips that we usually go on. So just finding, trying to find a groove, trying to get in a rhythm. We're going to the East Coast every other weekend, and we'd be leaving on Mondays and getting home Saturdays, so that it'd be about 6 days on the road. And our hats off to our student athletes. They've got classes, they're missing so much class at Stanford too, and killing it. I think we only had like one C in the program or something like that. It's crazy. So the ability for them to be able to kind of do both, really do the student athlete experience, to the highest level is something we take a lot of pride in. Definitely, hats off to our guys for getting that done too. But.
Yeah, I kind of want to expand on the fact of coming from where your last job at Pac-12, where it's Pac-12 as you were still there was slowly dying as it was, and obviously it's built up a little bit different now. But going to be the first year ever in Stanford history in the ACC, and I think it's different. A lot of people talk about the impacts it had on football, everything like that, because football is one of the greatest sports in college football, in college sports. But people don't talk about the impact it has on a game like college basketball, where you have played a lot more games. And like you said, you had an entire week or two in North Carolina, just playing different teams. You just kind of talk about the first year, and Stanford and ACC in general, and just the kind of like switch it's been for you.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. I mean, I think football definitely probably gets the most news. Obviously, they make the most money, and that's probably what leads the charge in making a lot of these decisions.
Yeah.
But, you know, in reality, they leave. You know, they play a game on Saturday. They probably leave. You know, Thursday after classes. You know, they get accustomed to the event. You know, they don't really have to be there for too long. They play the game Saturday, and they're on the flight Saturday night. You know, so.
Right.
It's just a lot different story. I mean, you look at, you know, the volleyballs, the baseballs, the basketballs, you know, a lot of these sports that maybe don't get as much of the media attention. It's, you know, it's a grind, you know, and we're fortunate, you know, a lot of our flights are you know, more are private jets, but, you know, flying commercial, I can't believe, you know, some of our program does stand for fly commercial, and, you know, they've got to basically get on, you know, a red eye flight, get there, like just they're basically just scrapping it all together. And it's, yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. And I think for me, I was in charge. A lot of my responsibility was team travel last year, so that, you know, I took a lot of, or, you know, pride, or just, you know, a lot of my energy was spent on kind of how can we make this the best experience possible for everybody.
Yeah.
But I was one of the places I'd never been before. I mean, I'd been to North Carolina once. I played a golf tournament there. I don't think I'd ever been to Atlanta, Georgia. You know, just all these random places. So
all over the
not
country.
having, you know, say we were in the Pac-12, you know, I kind of know what the Corvallis trip looked like, or,
Yeah.
you know, trip to Tucson or the LA schools. You know, there was enough repetition there where I at least felt comfortable. This was a complete, you know, wild card. So, you know, we made it to every game on time. We, you know, only had probably one delayed flight, which was great. So, you know, I'm gonna chalk it up for a good season. But, you know, it was crazy. It was really, really crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it.
With the ACC, toughest places to play that you had last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to step away from like Duke and North Carolina. That was just really incredible. Obviously, one experience was a lot cooler than the other one. Shout out Tyler King, but kind of had to do it to the Tar Heels.
No, damn straight. Fuck 'em.
But, you know, that was a crazy arena. You know, it was, I think, about 23,000. Everything that you look up in the arena is Carolina blue. Like the speakers in the place are Carolina blue. Like everybody's wearing Carolina blue. So just like you're walking out into this ocean, and we played. I think it was an earlier game. It was like a 1 or 2 o'clock game. So, you know, if you have the 7 o'clock game, you feel pretty good. It doesn't really matter where you're at. But, you know, you're kind of waking up a little bit, and then you got this crazy environment. And we played probably our best game of the year, if not, you know, one of our best games of the year. End up hitting a buzzer beater, you know, Jalen Blake's. That was incredible. And I, you know, got front row seat for that one, just basically happened right in front of my face, you know. And there's nothing more rewarding than just hearing, you know, 20,000, whatever, just quiet down. You know, that's probably my favorite, you know, feeling in kind of the profession. Just especially do it at a historical place at North Carolina. You look up in the rafters, and there's like 40 jerseys. You know, usually you see like 2 or 3, or maybe, you know, maybe 10 of them, but they've got 40 of them, and you know, they've got like their B tier jerseys that are like, you know, probably 30 of them, and then the 10 are like Jordan and James Worthy and Tyler Hansbrough, the true greats. So, you know, I've never been somewhere where they have, you know, a 2-tiered Hall of Fame system. Usually it's just you're in the Hall of Fame, but that was great. And then, I mean, Duke, we, you know, definitely kind of got to taste the Duke machine, which was a scary thing last year. And, it was a crazy game. I mean, we were on ABC, and that place is just, it's so condensed. I think I didn't really realize that. I'd always heard about it, but they're really, the fans are right on top of you. Like our family seating even right behind the bench, like their knees are like kind of hitting the back of your shoulders. You know, it's really crammed in there. And I mean, the student section is just phenomenal. It's just, they are ruthless from the moment they all get in there. And layup lines, they had, you know, stuff on our walk-ons, on, you know, our coaching staff that, you know, they're just like blurting out random things. You know, it's just like, who focuses on doing this stuff?
Yeah.
And apparently they get like a piece of paper or whatever that shows them, like, you know, basically the scout of like what they're gonna like attack the opponents basically. So it's an advanced operation to say the least. And you know, it was great. We lost by 40 and just got our asses handed to us, which kind of stunk. But you know, Cooper Flag, you know, Mal Watch and Knoepel, you know, getting to see them up close was pretty cool. And no, it's you know, nothing against the Pac. Obviously, the Pac had its own beauty, and I'm not going to say we had bad teams. It was, you know, a great conference, and you know, still that was my childhood. That's what I grew up on. But ACC is just a whole different monster, and I think it was really cool to go to a lot of these places and just see what the environment is like for basketball, and just, you know, how much passion is there, and how much, you know, it's a lifestyle for a lot of these, you know, places where, So, a couple of schools in the Pac-12, are kind of diehards, and you go to them. Arizona's, the Oregons,
Mhm.
but it's just like from top to bottom. It's just really really cool.
North
being out there.
Carolina is specifically just the state. It's just a different
Yeah,
breed of basketball.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
geez, we got Wake Forest, we got to go to Duke, North Carolina. We didn't go to NC State, but we'll go to NC State this year.
Yeah.
So, a lot of passion for basketball for sure.
Absolutely, man. So now you have officially 3 players that you've helped coach get in the NBA now. How is that feeling like? And just also, so you have those guys that you got to witness firsthand. But speaking of the guys like you see on the road this year and stuff like that, like the guys like the top 3 guys that from Duke that won the top 10 this year in the draft, is there certain guys that like made you like just go wow in general, just like that you think that their talent's going to translate to the NBA because you got a first hand look at that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be a homer, and of course, the guys I get to see the most,
Yeah.
of course, the Jalen Wells, Isaac Jones, the Maxime Reynaud's, love the jersey.
Damn straight.
Just being able to be a part of their daily process and just see how they go, and I mean, Maxime Reynaud, talking about him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he was a double major. At
Undervalued, I must say.
100%. He's
Yeah.
I mean, just his whole portfolio, when you look at it top to bottom, is just so impressive. And to do that and break the season record for double doubles in Stanford history, it's just that's something
Underlooked.
After the season, it's kind of you probably gain a little bit more perspective on everything. Where it's like, wow, like got to witness that, and it became so much of a routine. I feel like that you sometimes don't appreciate as much as you do in the moment, which again speaks a lot to the person Max is, but. I think with all 3 of those guys I mentioned, and Mohamed Gay, of course, the work ethic was just a different level. It's just like Jalen Willis. I remember walking in, every morning going into the office. He's on the gun before his whatever 10 a.m. class. He's getting more shots up than anybody. It's so cliche, but he, that it turned out to be, that's who it was. And a lot of people, even last year when he was entering the draft, maybe it wasn't the best decision. I'm sure he would have gotten a nice NIL package or whatever. If you chose to stay back, stay back in at the college level, but took a risk on himself, and again, one of the most confident people I've ever met. Not in a braggy or an asshole type way, but just really believes in kind of his process, and he wanted to be an NBA player, and it's just really cool when someone just has a determination to do that and just says, screw it, I'm just gonna put my head down and work my way there, and to see him be a first team all rookie NBA, it's just incredible. It's definitely more of a fan now where it's like I know that guy than it was. I'm not going to take any credit for
no one else is going to go to the league except to make you go to the league except yourself. You got to believe in yourself first, 100%.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just it's a really hard thing to do. Everybody's got that dream aspiration, but really only that small percentage really end up getting to do it. So
just a quick thing on Wells also. Now Bane is gone. It's really going to elevate his opportunity.
He was already dropping 20 plus points in the summer league. He's already getting back from injury and everything like that. We're so excited for Jay Wells, dude.
Yeah.
We're sad that
got the new hairdo too.
Got the new hairdo.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Watching his rookie season get cut short after even leading the league in the rookie of the year talent for a long time before Stephon Castle finally blew up. It was just amazing to see from Goog's perspective. And just, a second round guy perspective in general, just watching him go pop off, dude, because nobody knew his name. And we knew his talent the entire time. 3-and-D guy, he was amazing down there. He was guarding guys so well. And
I think it's always cool to watch his progression the year I was there. I think a lot of people maybe were following the team the whole time. You probably would have thought Jalen Wells started, was our
from Sonoma.
Started in the starting lineup and all that. I mean, he didn't start until the USC game, which was our first couple conference games in season. So he really was just again, I'm not gonna act like first time I saw play eyes on him. He was an NBA talent. I don't quite have that power yet. Maybe a couple more years from now. But
same with Ryan Rapp.
Exactly. Shout out Rapper for sure. But just Jalen was just a guy who just slowly got better and better and better.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point. He had that USC game. He played really well, and just when we played Arizona at home, that was a big breakout game for him. He just slowly built, and then he had that stretch when I think we won like 7 out of 8. It was like starting with the Arizona games, we beat like Cal, Stanford at home, Colorado, Utah. He was just such a solidified player, and locking out. I mean, he shut down Cody Williams. Another. Lottery pick in that year's draft. I think Cody Williams only had 2 field goals in 3 games or something against him. It was, really impressive. So No, he's just incredible, and you know, it's really cool just to be able. I get a happy birthday text. You know, that's where
There you go.
that's the one time a year I you know I get to act like I know somebody big time. You know, so yeah, he's the man.
Absolutely, dude.
Talking about Reynaud too, bro. I think first off, it's cool that he got drafted to the Kings.
Staying in Cali, baby.
Stay in Cali, he gets to partner up with your other boy IJ.
Yeah,
Also, talking about IJ,
Talking about IJ,
getting his fully guaranteed contract for this
Yeah.
year. Absolutely deservingly so. Honestly, could have got more money, but
Definitely a lot of Kings fans in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
I believe it.
A lot of shares up there for
Yeah.
sure. So
you got my Gonzaga man, DeMontis bonus down low as
Yeah,
well.
there
So
you go.
huge fan.
teaching of the way.
Yeah,
Teaching
damn
of the
straight.
way. So, no, it's cool. I mean, obviously Sac's still a couple hours. I wish it was right in the backyard. Obviously,
Mhm.
which would be like the perfect end spot for all of them, just because you know you might get a little bit better chance of getting to a game. But
Yeah,
to have them close, you know, and just know that they're all in really good positions, you know, and they've always been people again where they get handed the opportunity to go out and take it. I mean, Isaac Jones' story we've gone through it a million times, but you know, no better person like that who's just you know really you know taking any opportunity he can to just really blossom into that he's an NBA player on a fully guaranteed deal. You know, that's just
yeah,
really incredible, and just to be, you know, that's probably my favorite thing about just being a part of this whole thing. Still, is it's always been about the people and just the people that you know I get to run into, get to work with on a daily basis, from our coaching staff, from you know other support staff members to the players. You know, it's all about kind of you know what they get to do, and just you know being along for the ride has just always been just super special. So
yeah. Kind of going back to the transition a little bit. I'm not. It's tough for me to say this, so I'm not trying to shit on our alma mater here whatsoever. But there's got to be a learning curve slash some big transition going from an academic school like Washington State University and going to an academic school like Stanford, which is probably the best in the country. Um, just from like a program's perspective of just school wise, not even conference wise, like how was that transition for you? Obviously, Washington State's your alma mater too, so you have a little bit of soft spot there. And so, in fact, Stanford used to be Pac-12 rivalry and everything like that. But kind of like, what's the main differences that you can speak on there?
yeah, I think obviously with the academic requirements at Stanford, you know, we recruit to definitely a different pool. You know, you got to make sure you know transcripts line up, or you know they have their stuff together. You know, they're taking AP classes in high school, whatever it might be. You know, that's just something we didn't necessarily need to look at right off the bat at Washington State. You know, we had a pretty good chance that we're going to be able to get kind of anybody in. I'm a great example of that. You know, GPA was definitely not the highest. I definitely wasn't getting into Stanford.
Oh, me neither.
You know, I think that's the one thing. You know, there's pros and cons, of course, to it. You know, obviously you're not able. Our coaching staff has always been so amazing at just identifying talent. You know, we've found it in a lot of different shapes, sizes, areas. But you know, I think that's really credit to Coach Smith and kind of his leadership there, and you know, our assistant coaches that really kind of get on the road and kind of get their hands dirty, and create the teams that we've had, which have been really special. Again, we won 21 games last year. You know, Stanford hadn't done that in 10 years. You know, and we only had 6 returners on that team. The hexagonal is what we called them, and it was really cool. I mean, only 2 of those players out of the 6 had played in a game before. You know, the other 4 had been injured or had redshirted, and to take a team like that with little experience that we had kind of going into it, and I think we had 9 transfers, 10 transfers last year, most Stanford's ever had. You know, it was a lot of firsts for the program. But yeah, I think obviously just the pride that Stanford has in its academics is something that's really that's new, and it's really cool to see, and just the level of student. I think one of my favorite stories I've gotten we tell on a lot of recruitment trips is, obviously everybody knows Christian McCaffrey, and that was one of the kind of the heydays for Stanford football.
Yeah.
His roommate,
Coach Shaw back in the day.
Yeah, and Andrew Luck. It's really cool. But his roommate back in the day, one thing that's unique about Stanford is that like players, athletes usually room with just regular students. You know, they really kind of separate that to create the true kind of student athlete experience.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
McCaffrey's his freshman year roommate was starting a business, and McCaffrey I think put like $5,000 down in this business. Just basically like and a lot of entrepreneurs at Stanford, to be honest, a lot of kids. There's some crazy stories that go on, but the business that the guy ended up making was DoorDash.
No
So
shit.
Christian
Wow.
McCaffrey had like some of the original shares in DoorDash that now pay him more than almost his NFL contract. So like just being around an area where like that to be honest, isn't as infrequent a story as you think it
In
is.
the
but
Valley.
the power of that is incredible. I mean, you think of Christian McCaffrey is an NFL star. He's, done so much athletically, but
Mhm.
I mean, at Stanford, like this guy could have been, washed up and kind of million injuries. Like, financially, he might have still made it out the same way. So, the one thing we always tell Stanford, we have the lifetime NIL, and obviously that landscape has changed a lot since,
Mhm.
especially since I've been in basketball. But of course, even over the past couple of years, it's changed, immensely.
Quite a
So,
bit.
being able to sell that, basketball might not work out. We've just talked about, such a small percentage of people are going to make it to the NBA or make a really good career out of playing professional basketball.
Mhm.
We've got this really great safety net for you that, if all fails, obviously we're going to push you as much as you can to become that athlete you want to, but you're in really good hands with the alumni network, with just the, the structure of the academic kind of curriculum at Stanford. You're going to be put in some really good opportunities.
Yummy,
which is really
yeah.
cool. So
Yeah, the NIL is a huge thing. Who was the guy that? How much did the BYU pay that top number 1 overall recruit? Devanska.
Yeah, he's making a good amount.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day. It was like 4.2 million or something. It's
Yeah, that's like 5
I
times
think
the amount
Arch
of
Manning's
NIL.
leading the charge. I mean, it's crazy. The collective.
Yeah.
Teams are spending a lot of money on to fill out their rosters, which the pros cons. I've seen both sides of it. It's great to see some of these athletes being able to be rewarded and
Mhm.
but also it's tough. It's tough to see.
Yeah, I mean, we literally just saw our quarterback leave for $3+ million
Yeah,
to Oklahoma. We don't know about his Venmo transactions or
Exactly.
anything like
How
that,
much
but
of that was
we're
based
not
on
not
parlays?
commenting, not commenting on that whatsoever. No, but I'll let John Mateer out there. But yeah, the NIL landscape is a wild thing to even think about these days, and I personally don't love it that much, especially being in a small school market at Washington University.
Absolutely.
Obviously, like you said, though, we have like coaches like Coach Smith and different coaches in the past have just found an eye for talent. There's talent out there, and it's the unrated guys are not going to ask for millions of dollars, but really important to have a good coaching staff to develop these guys. Like you said, Jay Wells wasn't like necessarily a blinking off the eye of the second rounder right away when he came in. Like coaching development really matters in this. So yeah.
I think our staff we've been fortunate. We work really hard at it, and it's something with the hustle stats we do a lot of things kind of in program to basically review our players at all times. I feel like we're really transparent with our players, which is something that is really helpful. So we're not going to hide. The reason you're not playing is going to be right in front of your eyes, and you're going to take it or leave it. And we're going to go with the people that want to keep continually getting better at it. But
right.
Again, I just love that foundation for our program. I feel like it's always kind of shaped us up to be a bunch that's just hungry to get better, hungry to do bigger
Exactly.
things. So.
How are our comments looking right now?
Who was it? Somebody said something. We got a few. Shout out Jans. Dude, fantasy team sucks though. It's from Jaden Patterson.
Wow. After the heart.
GB3 fan question: what's Yano's next move in his basketball career?
Wow. GB. I haven't seen GB in a while. Hey, is he still in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe
Denny's seeing him today, aren't you?
Yeah. Next move. I think this is a big year, kind of decision-wise, for what I'm going to be doing. Obviously, been blessed with some great opportunities to be director of operations at Washington State and Stanford, and I think as much as I wish that could be a forever job, it just salary-wise and just what I have personally, I just kind of want to move on to probably something else. So. Still kind of deciding. I mean, there's obviously the coaching route where I'd maybe drop down to lower tier school or Division II or high school or something and get that's something I really haven't had a ton of in my 6 years of basketball. Is just some real hands-on coaching experience. I've had pockets and player development and other things, but a lot of my work has been more behind the scenes. So if I want to take that, then obviously I've been trying to put some feelers out maybe in the NBA, a front office position. I've been trying to build my network within kind of the NBA landscape a little bit. Obviously, if the Sonics comes back, be very highly interested in whatever they have to offer there. But again, I've just really, I think it's been a wild 6 years. It's been really crazy from being a DoorDash driver for the team to now a full-time assistant for the program. It's been crazy, but I've really focused on just taking it really one opportunity at a time and making sure that the opportunity I have at hand, I'm not trying to waste it by any means. So. I've been blessed with great people, great support group that helps me do this and motivates me to do bigger and better things with it. And Again, Coach Smith he's given me every opportunity I've had in this industry, from helping me get my GA job at Hawaii to hiring me back as one of the youngest director of ops in the country.
Yeah.
Just having his confidence and his support has meant the world. And same with our coaching staff. Coach Wayne Hunter I've worked with now. This is going to be year 3 with him. Jeremy Harden year 3. Eric Revenue, who's our GM now at Stanford, has been huge in just learning this landscape down there. He's a former player, he's an assistant coach at Stanford. He's that brains behind our operation that can really give us kind of the local knowledge that we need. Stephen Frankowski, I mean, he was a player development guy for the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. We're sitting courtside for our USC game, the year we're at Washington State, and Bronny's there, and this guy just walks over and daps up LeBron James. I mean, it's like, who do you know that can just do that, without getting arrested or something? So that was cool. And, obviously, Brett McConnell, we just brought in from Princeton, and Derek Robo, I've gotten to work with a lot of coaches at Hawaii. It's been really cool just to have so many people around me to be able to just kind of give me advice and give me the right directions. Dominic Jurg, who's the director of basketball operations for the Big West Conference, or he's got a new title now, but he was a huge part of my development and being able to do the job that I'm doing now. He was the director of ops at University of Hawaii when I was a grad assistant down there. And he's taught me a ton, and it's just amazing now. These people are also doing bigger and better things, and now I get to be a part of their journey a little bit and get the advice from them to, hopefully fill their shoes one day. So, I guess I went very broad with the answer there. I don't have a quite specific thing I'm going to be doing this next year, but just really, really trying to enjoy the most of it. And, at the end of the day, I get to coach a PE game, which is pretty cool. That's going to work and getting to go to practice. And, sure, there might be some office busy work, but what doesn't have that? So, extremely fortunate to do it and get to do it at one of the highest academic universities in the country, too, which is, never thought I would be affiliated with Stanford. I think that was something at a young age. It was not on the bingo card. So.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, can you kind of just give a rundown of what you do as basketball operations?
Yeah. So my role is a little bit changing now, but director of basketball operations, obviously, there's 3 main kind of, I would say, responsibilities. Budgeting. So I handle a lot of the team finances. So whatever we're paying, from team travel to team meals to equipment for things. I'm kind of the point of contact that people go to. Is like, hey, we need this to make our program better. So that's a big responsibility of mine. Scheduling, like practice schedule, making sure that people know when we're doing things, when we're practicing, when they have weights, when they have whatever. Trying to be the main, basically like a communicator and all that. And then team travel was a big responsibility of mine, which was quite a handful this year. But there might not be the X's and O's. It's not as much hands-on coaching. Obviously, I get pockets here and there, and I get to be in film review sessions or recruiting meetings. And, obviously our staff's always been really awesome with, giving me as many coaching opportunities as possible. That's just not quite my main responsibility yet. And this year, hopefully moving into more of kind of a scouting and recruiting role, which I'm really excited about. So not as much of the behind the scenes stuff, but get to be a little bit more in kind of the, identifying talent and just kind of, hopefully being on like some scouts this year. So, wherever team we're playing, whether that be player personnel or learning their inline out of bounds players or whatever it might be, getting a little bit more kind of coaching and kind of film scouting experience this year, which I'm really looking forward to. So
that's awesome. We got a few more comments.
Yeah, they're great.
Grant Ball said, Evan get Volkswagen Olympia to sponsor them. That'd be great, Evan. Landon Tennis said, question for Alex Yano. Which player on your dynasty team can't dunk on you?
Why is the dynasty guy? We're talking about this.
Everybody's going hard on the dynasty.
I mean, hey, we're having a lot of hate. We're in a rebuilding phase. We're not going to deny it. We like the draft capital we might have for future years. And obviously, I'm more in Hampton. We're really excited about it. And we've got some talent that the team likes. So I'm gonna ride my team. I'm gonna make sure that I'm supporting them. And this year might not be the year. It might not be the year that we won. We accepted that, but got my first rounder next year. I've got shout out Reese Thomas. Thank you for your second round pick for next year as well. I got my own second round, so there's some draft capital that could be. It's quite the storm that's brewing for sure.
That's hilarious. We only have Cold Kush said, "Gonna lose my job watching this."
Shout out.
So we can go to more Mariner games this weekend.
Dude, yeah. Got any more questions, Lou?
So,
I'm
do
blanking.
you think your responsibilities have increased from your time at Wazoo to now? You feel like you're starting to get more kind of responsibilities, more duties, kind of get more opportunities to do stuff.
Yeah, I think a big part of my job from the very get go is just whatever the team needs, and I think that's something I try and take as much pride as possible in. And it's, again, it started out being wiping sweat up off the floor, helping out in ways that, a lot of people didn't necessarily want to, but, I saw it as an opportunity. And, I think, yeah, sure, my roles are getting closer to what I would like to be doing. And, I think one of the great things I can offer is I've been with the coaching staff now for a good amount of years, a lot, even as we bring in new coaches to our coaching staff, and there's maybe not as much continuity in what they know. Like, they don't know how our program runs as much. So I can be a lot of kind of the voice of being like, oh, we like to do things this way, and just make sure, Coach Smith and Coach, some of the higher upper coaches are focusing on recruiting or like more important things. Like, I can help with the onboarding process and help with just, shape up people to kind of get an understanding of kind of how our program operates. Because that's, again, probably the nicest thing about it is, we've changed schools, we've changed logos or whatever you want to call it. How we do our daily business, how the program runs has stayed the same pretty much since I've been a manager, so just having that continuity and now having that experience, seeing it as from an undergraduate perspective as a manager and then a team manager and kind of more of a video coordinator to a grad or to director of ops, being able to just see a lot of different phases of kind of at least the support staff aspect of our programs helps me a lot. And just, being able to help out really anybody at any time is really something I take a lot of pride in. So it might be coaching one time. I feel like I'm prepared to be able to take on that opportunity. Recruiting, I've been learning a lot about scouting. Obviously, a lot of the behind the scenes work, the budgeting, the financial piece, and just kind of the daily operations piece I feel really comfortable with. But yeah, it's obviously the title is only just a title. We just want to make sure we're all doing our part to make the operation run. So, I work for a great staff, and I've got maybe the best boss in the world. Coach Smith is just the man. So
I love that guy.
He's been a absolute blessing to work for. So.
We got another question from Landon Tennis.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
this might be the last one. You might need a question max on these guys. Repeat offenders here.
First off, you said painting nails in the lineup, and then second, you said if the opportunity presented itself, would you embrace a job opening in Euro hoops? Doesn't have to be in the short term.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had a thought. What was the first question? Painted nails in the lineup?
You said painted nails in the lineup.
What is that?
Question
like a
mark.
Miles Rice like slam or something? Rice used to paint his fingernails.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. What. I have no idea.
Oh, he's probably talking about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, probably definitely Caleb Williams and more painted nails.
I got Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, and Caleb Williams. It's not a terrible QB room if you want to go after him. But.
Yeah, he said Caleb Williams.
We're not Joe Rice like that. For sure.
No, not Rice.
But I think overseas hoops is definitely something that's been intriguing. Now, obviously, the goal would always be to get back to Seattle. I've always seen myself kind of living up here, and obviously, a lot of my Washington State and college life all lives out here, which is something that has always been an important part of kind of what I'm doing. And been lucky to be coaching at Washington State. Now Stanford's place is close enough, where it's not the hardest thing in the world to pop up here for a weekend or so to see you guys. But I think Australia, Japan, maybe not as much Euro, but those would be the two I definitely have a little interest in. Obviously, with Ryan Rapp and some of the Australian, Brad Davidson was assistant coach at University of Hawaii. He coached for the Boomers in the national team. So there's been a lot of relationships I've been able to build with within the NBL or the NBL one, which would be definitely intriguing for sure. To always wanted to go to Australia. Now I don't know if living and my profession down there was not quite in the cards, but if an opportunity presented itself, that'd be something I'd be definitely interested in. And obviously, being Japanese, and my 1 year at Hawaii, they took a foreign tour to Japan, and I actually got the job at Washington State right before, so I wasn't able to go, but would have been a really cool experience, and would be cool to go to the homeland and check that out a little bit. And one of our the director of operations at Hawaii, right before I left, Cody Kelly, he coaches for a team in the JBL, so very small connections here and there, and just obviously just trying to keep in touch with them as much as possible.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not closing the door if an opportunity like that it'd be pretty cool, especially with how global the game of basketball is getting. There's a lot more money out there too. Usually, probably about 10, 15 years ago, you're not probably making much as an assistant now I might be able to have a little bit more of a living, which is speaks to
Yeah,
kind of the global aspect of the game, which is cool.
just whatever best for you in your career.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. I don't blame you, man.
Shout out Japan.
Shout
Shout out Josh Hawkinson.
Yeah, Cougs.
Josh Hawkinson.
Cougs.
Shout
We
out
had a couple
Yuki
Cougs.
Katamura.
Yeah,
We had a
Akira
couple
Jacobs,
Cougs.
Sky Coach Hill.
Yep, that's dope.
We had a. Was he the only? No, we had 2 Cougs in the Olympics, didn't we? Who's the other Coug? I'm trying to think of. Maybe
Like
not.
Baines a while ago.
Baines a while ago. This last year, I was maybe just
wait,
thinking of Hawkins.
no, not Brock Modem. He wouldn't. Did he
No.
play for Australia?
I don't
Maybe
think
I'm,
so.
maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but there's a few Zags in there, but not important. But so what questions we got? So 2025-26 season outlook. What are we thinking this year for the Cards?
Yeah, obviously losing the big fella is going to be something that is probably number one.
Yes.
Trying to figure out just what's that look like now. Not sure it's going to look like a 5-man or whatever Maxime looked like, but we definitely have some talent that I'm really excited about to play maybe a little bit different style of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 3 freshmen who have been incredible so far. Luca Corey from Brewster Academy in Boston. Point guard, he's very talented and I would say very mature for his age. That hopefully we can get a little bit out of him this year. And then we have 2 bigs, Christer Skrinda and Oscar Gilte. Christer's from Latvia and Oscar's from Belgium, who both have been playing pro basketball, at least in pro leagues. So the experience playing against bigger, more athletic bodies or stronger bodies is not going to be something that's per se a lot of freshmen would originally have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But also bringing back a lot of talent. Benny Geeler has been our captain this year. He's been huge for us and just providing that kind of leadership voice. And he had a couple of games where we won games because he hit a couple of big shots. We brought in actually a transfer from Washington State days, one of our walk-ons, AJ Rahosi, who played a year at Claremont McKenna. Who's a forward, just energizer bunny, just plays his ass off, and is going to be able to bring a little bit of pop for us for this year, which is great. Chizam Akpar is probably one of our higher leading returner scorers. He was a transfer last year from Harvard, but played really well for us down the stretch last year. He was a big reason we were in that Louisville game. Basically kind of took over there. And we've got a lot of freshman talent last year. Donovan Young started some games for us. He's if we can keep him healthy, he's a guy who's given us really good minutes off the as a starter or off the bench. Evan Stinson, another guy from Chino, Washington, actually. He started a couple games for us too last year and was able to bring us a little bit of energy. We have also 2 other sophomores now, Anthony Batson, and Talis Toure. Who Anthony is a guard for us that very athletic body, and Talis is another big fellow that can shoot a little bit but has got good size, good frame. So we have and Ryan Agarwal is another guy we're bringing back. He started 30 games for us last year. So again, we have I would say a decent enough amount of experience with these guys. It's not that same feeling last year where guys we don't know if, how they're going to react. They never played in a Power 5 game before. We've got a little that more in the hindsight, which is great. And it's again, how can we replace 20 points and 13, 14 rebounds?
Yeah,
So,
tough task.
Very easy, a lot easier said than done, but something we're definitely up for the challenge and bring it on. Go project us to be 16th, 17th place. We're all for it. We don't never listen to any of that stuff, and I think we've got a good enough reputation now where we'll find a way to make things happen and make it a pretty memorable year. So
just like your season on the Cougs, man, we weren't even projected to be a top 10 team in the Pac-12.
100%.
And
one game out
and shocked the world, dude. Yeah.
So we love that story. I think me personally, I will always adapt it to the underdog story.
Oh, always, man.
It's a big part of my life. So anytime we get a whole program thinking that way, it's a pretty dangerous thing. So really excited. These kids are so incredible, and just they're so intellectually mature, or they're just really good individual people. So it's a joy to go in the gym every day. No, it's really cool because even if basketball doesn't work out for these kids, like they're just really on the in the process of doing something really, really incredible with their life. So
yes, sir.
Again, really excited for another year, another opportunity, and let's see what happens.
Yes,
so,
sir. You got any more questions, Luke?
Shout out Brewster Academy. First off, it's Donovan Mitchell's alumni.
Yeah.
Other alumni. You've talked about the success you've had with Coach Smith. You guys made it to the dance, Wazoo, NIT last year. Talk a little bit about the NIT experience. I just want to hear a little bit about that. obviously not as big as the
Being a
dance,
7
but
seed, but
still a great opportunity to go over there as the NIT. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it was great. I think it's always good to get, especially if we're building a program, building where we want to be. Of course, we want to be an NCAA tournament team. Everybody wants to win a national championship. And I mean, Coach Smith's tree is crazy. Todd Golden, head coach of Florida, just won the national championship. He had 3 other former assistants get head coaching jobs this year. So again, the formula, he just has the magic, the magic recipe that it just really creates some iconic and memorable moments for everybody. But no, I think the NIT was a great experience. Just being able to play postseason basketball, it might not, even if you don't win a game, just having the experience of, like you're playing basketball this late in the season, by that time of the year, you've played 30 plus games, you've been on the road for a while, you're naturally mentally just a little bit, kind of beat up, you're not fresh. It's not the feeling I have right now. It's like, oh, about ready to attack the season, as much, you're kind of, you're going through with everybody. That's when you really kind of, the best teams, play basketball in March, but that's when it matters the most. So you really figure out who really wants to win games, late in the season. So just getting that experience. We played Cal State Northridge our first game. Got to play a home game, which was great. So we had had a high seed in the NIT.
Nice.
Any postseason wins a hard one. Any team that's playing late into March, they're there for a reason. And we ran into a Kent State team that was really good. That had a point guard that just couldn't miss on that day. They hit like 7 or 8 threes on us, and still put up a good fight about them. So no, I think it's really good to play in postseason tournaments, and it looks a little bit different now. I think as you see, like I think it was called the Crown this year. They experimented with you had teams that had 6 to 10 kids in the portal, and they're it doesn't quite make sense where what is the regulation maybe stepping for that, where let's finish the season, like let's play all the games and all that, and then whatever we want to do next year, like let's turn the page on it. But no, it was a great experience, and obviously would love to be back there again. Obviously would love to make the dance also. So we really had a good ACC tournament. We beat Cal for the first time we've had a season sweep at Cal, I think, since like 1960 something.
yeah.
Been a huge moment for us. We've been beaten 3 times, which is great. Really hard to beat any team 3 times. And then played Louisville and just kind of ball didn't bounce the right way at the very end of the game, and got our hearts broken a little bit. But I feel like our program's mentality just thrives, and when the game matters. So I'm really excited to see what we can do, and I think be ready to shock the world for sure. So
Damn straight. All right, time to turn off work mode, Yano, for a second.
Perfect.
Give us the beta bro, Alex Yano, our buddy. Fucking Cougs, fucking Mariners making a push here.
Yeah.
Like what NFL season, your dynasty league, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Like what are you excited for with season?
No, I mean I think we talked about it last time. Like I'm a huge diehard Seattle Mariners.
Damn straight.
Just
We all are in this house.
Absolutely. I that's what I do. I get done with practice, I go home, I turn the Mariners on. I mean that's my rest. I get away from work in a moment, and it's been cool. I mean, for them to do what they did at the deadline is just something I've never seen. It's always I've been just like everybody probably in this room.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that moment just like, oh, God, I wish they went and did something. I wish they went and got
Gino.
I got the Gino. I was
Give
flying.
me a sip of that.
I was flying. I can't remember where I was flying. I think I was flying up for a wedding actually up here.
Yeah.
Ago. When it broke, I was probably about 3 or 4 hours late to the news, but my dad texted in our family chat. I was like, boy, Alex is
so
gonna be
bad,
pumped when
baby.
he lands. And I was like, that was like the bat signal,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, they got Gino.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved Josh Naylor. I've always been a huge fan of his.
Wario.
And I would love
Wario.
I think what they're calling the big grumper.
The big grumper.
Like
Dude,
that.
to me, he just looks like exactly like Wario
Yeah, he
from
does.
fucking Mario.
He does. That's a
Oh
good
my
call.
gosh.
But it's I've always liked him, and I think he'd be a great. As much as I love Gino, he probably fits a little bit more in the future
Oh.
plans of the team.
Yeah, I want to
they-
sign Naylor.
They don't have a lot of options at first base. That it's got to make sense for them to probably seal the deal on that one, and it's probably going to cost a little bit more than we want.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, getting like even Kate Anderson this year in the draft, getting probably I thought the best player in the draft. We just to bolster a great farm system with Ryan Sloan and Drangelo St. now Kate Anderson on top of
Nine
Logan
total
Gilbert
top
and
100
George
prospects.
Kirby and Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, and
It continues.
It continues. These are high level, MLB starters. These aren't just guys. I mean, even like Logan Evans,
Let's
he's come up
just-
and filled a decent void. So
Let's just scratch this last road trip from that.
yeah, it's
From
all right.
those, that was a horrible
three
road trip
straight
for our
road
pitchers.
trips. I mean, it's
Oh my gosh.
it happens. They get a day off today. We'll be out there, in the cantina this weekend. I'm very excited.
Damn straight,
for it.
baby.
One of my favorite moments of the year. Get out to men's games. So, I think it's just really exciting. And I think a lot of Mariners fans share the same thing. If they just got to get in, if it's a
Mhm.
wild card, if it's a third one, I love our team and our rotation, our bullpen, and when shorten it down to a 3-game series, and I think we've got a really good chance to really do something. And it's cool. I mean, it's cool seeing the World Series odds and seeing the Mariners up there a little bit higher than they usually are. It's just a different feeling as a fan. I
It
think
doesn't feel real.
there's so much. We haven't scored a home run in a playoff game since 2001. Like I was waiting for that, the Orioles game, and just
Yeah,
couldn't
dude.
quite,
Oh
couldn't
my
quite
God.
break through. But it's always been a town in the city. I mean, that's one reason I'd love to be up here. Is just if the Mariners ever made a World Series or made the playoffs, just to be a part of that environment. The Seattle sports fan is just so special, and that's why they need an NBA team up here. That's why the Seahawks growing up with the 12s and with Legion of Boom and everything that had to offer too. It's so sick when Seattle sports are awesome,
Mhm.
and I think it's the Mariners' turn. We've waited a long time for it, so definitely. I mean, I could talk your off all day about the Mariners.
Oh,
but,
dude, me too.
Coug football, I'm really excited about this year. I really like this Jimmy Rogers hire. I like everything he's been about a little bit. I think it's a nice fresh start for the program. The program's been through so much, just all across the board, from losing players to conference realignment, all this. I think he's got. Anytime I listen to him talk, he's just got the right mindset about it's just put all that aside. Like, we're just going to put a great product on the field, and we'll play anybody basically, which
Mhm.
I really like, and see how Zevi is. There's going to be a lot of new names that we don't quite know for on
Yeah.
Saturdays, but I think that's part of the joy now for a Coug fan. I know we might lose them next year, whatever. That stinks, but we get to get to love even more players. Get to be a part of these guys' journeys and the Cougs experience. Like this Angel Johnson running back, I'm hearing all about.
Mhm.
Seems like an absolute beast. We lost Wayshawn Parker, that stinks, but
We still got
Who knows?
Will Ossie.
we re-up and we reload. So I think it'll be interesting. It'll be cool or interesting to see how the schedule dynamic kind of works out. Not
Yeah.
having that solidified. I think that's why I miss the Pac-12 so much. It's just you wanted to play like in Oregon in October. You wanted to play USC.
Well,
so,
we get to play Oregon State twice this
yeah,
year.
Played twice. He played James.
No,
Madison,
no
with
offense to
Texas.
these, but it's just you don't want to play the same team twice in this
Oh, for
college
sure.
season.
That's definitely a curveball. Wasn't expecting that in the
Yeah.
schedule release, but we'll see. Obviously, heart always has got a little crimson in it, no matter where I'm at. So,
Yeah.
it was just too much a part of my life to not pull through Coug. So,
Yeah.
get to just change a little lighter shade. Like
Mhm.
as we started out, the cardinal red and Cougar crimson, but yeah, it's a good time to be a sports fan for me right now. I've been really enjoying it. I'm just
Yeah.
hoping the Mariners don't heartbreak me and miss the playoffs this year, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to win.
I think it's really interesting talking about the Cougs. It's weird. Most Cougs talk about Mike Price. They talk about Mike Leach. Even talking about our last coach. My God, I'm blanking on him because Jake Dicker, because he fucking left us. But like we've been known as a offensive minded coaches for so long, but weirdly enough, we have more defensive players from Wazoo in the NFL right now than we do offensive, which is also a weird thing to think.
Yeah.
But this is like the first coach to memory since being a kid that is a defensive minded head coach. He was a linebackers
Yeah.
coach at
I think,
South Dakota State
Like
too.
Bill Doba was definitely a little bit more defensive minded. They weren't as great early on. That's one of the first coaches I remember.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I mean, oh shoot. The Mike Leach era, I feel like for like everybody who's followed
Air raid.
football, for us especially, like that is what Coug football has been now. Like,
But then
I
we
mean,
still have Frankie Lou and
exactly.
Tomas Alpha getting drafted in the second round
is
from
Deion
them.
still in there?
Yeah.
Is he? And then
Deion
got
Henley.
Jaden Hicks,
Jalen starting
Johnson,
linebacker.
Jalen Watson,
Jalen Watts.
um,
Yeah. Piper Cups.
Nick Cubs.
We have a new defensive lineman that's just on the Chiefs this year as well.
Oh
um,
the D tackle. Right?
Yeah. Former Deion Buchanan on the league anymore,
Yeah.
obviously.
He was a beast.
Iquale, Daniel Iquale, who was on the Browns.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Patriots, I think, a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like plenty of guys, but just like I said, weird because some of those guys came from Mike Leach
Yeah.
offense that were,
Yeah.
but like it's funny to see. I'm a huge fan of Frankie Luvu and how he came to be.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being behind
Or
Hercules
you used to
Mataafa,
sack, you used to do the snake, right?
the little
That was
snake,
awesome.
dude. Oh my gosh! But now he's starting linebacker next to Bobby Wagner in the Washington
Yeah.
Commanders.
Yeah.
Total wild. So I know we're turning to football here, but want to talk about the Sonics. How you brought them up is we report as much as we can here. Since we've been gone, we've had a Lenny Wilkins statue go up, the very first statue outside of Climate Pledge Arena, former Key Arena. Just this last weekend, we had a Sue Bird statue also put up outside the arena for the Seattle Storm. We've been investing more and more into the Sonics since they've been gone now than we ever have. We have another podcast out there named Iconic Sonics. It's been super following everything like that. We have so much that's going on. We have talked about the amount of Seattle players that are from here. Like you said, you even got people from Washington coming to Stanford basketball.
Yeah.
And you have people from Washington, from Seattle area, Paulo Banchero, a few other guys that are literally in the league as well that are making a name for Seattle. And, Paulo Banchero has been back here coaching with Jamal Crawford too and everything like that. What is it for you that really, I guess, one, bring the Sonics back? We just had to sell the Portland Trailblazers. That helped a lot too. What's it going to take? Explain to you and your history of being a Sonics fan and everything like that, what it means to this fucking city to bring it back.
Yeah, I think the basketball culture just in general, in the city of Seattle, it's incredible. It just seems like a market that it makes way too much sense. So
Yeah,
something obviously is going on. It's more behind the scenes. It's probably political, and it really does feel like it's
money.
It does seem like it's a matter of time. Like it just doesn't feel like we're super far away now. I might be 5 years. We don't know what that time span looks like. It could happen tomorrow. You never know. Really truly know. But it does feel like we're closer. But it's just in the short time I've been doing basketball. Obviously, Coach Jim Shaw, one of our associate head coaches, he coached at UW during kind of the UW heyday. So Nate Robinson, Isaiah Thomas, and Brandon Roy. All these Husky legends. As much as I hate saying that word, but it's really cool to learn some of the history of the city of basketball. And these guys coming from Rainier Beach and Garfield and playing.
No Williams.
Yeah, no Williams. Yeah, Slim O'Day. Mike, shout out Big Mike.
Shout out Big Mike.
But I think again, it just feels like it's on the brink. My dad was a huge Sonics fan growing up. I think, when did they get taken away? Was it 2008? 2008. Yeah. So my dad, he swears he doesn't watch any NBA basketball anymore because of it. He had season tickets with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, Dennis Shrimp. Just the heyday of Seattle basketball, which how can you not be a fan? So. I think the biggest shock for me, and again, I don't really know quite how to explain it, but there's so much just presence about them coming back. There's alumni, ex-players like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. There's like Dwayne Wade. I remember a couple years ago, whatever, would say that like he would want to be part of the ownership group and do that. There's so much like greatness and volume beyond behind the Sonics and what the franchise mean, not just at the city, but what it's meant to the NBA and like the history of the NBA. That. Again, it seems like it's a cash cow. Like if the NBA is all about making money, I get it. You're splitting the pie up just a little bit, a little bit thinner slice than you'd want to have. But again, it just seems like you're really leaving out a huge market that is so passionate about. I mean, tell me that the first 5 seasons of the Seattle SuperSonics wouldn't be sold out season ticket wise. I mean, the people now, I almost feel like they learned from the mistake or whatever it was last time that kind of caused all this. Like they'll do anything it takes to make sure it never happens ever again. And like anything about motivated people, they're the most dangerous people of all time. So again, I just feel like with the way things are trending now, it does look like probably expansion is probably the way it's going to go. And where do they put maybe that second team? Is it Vegas? Is it I don't know somewhere else? I don't even know where else they're thinking about doing it.
They're thinking internationally, which I really don't want to happen.
I think that's so stupid.
I don't know why you go to Mexico City or even overcrossed, but
yeah,
we already got Canada.
Well, Vancouver, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, Seattle's got to have a team. If they do anything, like, it's such a passionate fan base. It just feels like there's so much untapped potential that just is getting left out there. And it's just all, it's just people like, you guys, keeping it alive and keeping the spirit alive. That's when it does come back. I mean, that's just going to be, it'll make it even sweeter, But yeah, it is an enigma. I mean, can't quite understand it.
Damn straight.
You'll have to travel back when they get announced.
We've already said multiple times in the pod we're gonna get blackout drunk when they announce it. We're gonna live stream it all.
Let's do the full day stream here.
Yeah, we'll do a full day stream here for sure.
Yeah. I've
We-
had my rant. I'm stunning. So I have nothing else to say about that. I've already gone crazy.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to ask you about though, your hometown. You're talking about your teams that have been doing really well. Your hometown boys have made some additions this offseason, and
Absolutely.
I want to hear your thoughts
No,
because
very excited.
they've been making some moves, and I actually really like their moves this offseason.
No, I thought this is another A plus. You know, I think me personally as a Nuggets fan, the MPJ experiment was just kind of getting towards the last leg.
Speaking of Seattle, man.
And yeah, and Nathan Hale, right? You know, it's and he did great things. He had that, you know, a couple big games and a couple big series, but I'm really love the Cam Johnson move. I mean, I just think he fits the puzzle
Damn
just
straight.
a little bit better. It's what we really wanted MPJ to kind of more be like for you know the role player around Jokic and Murray. And I mean, I was talking to my uncle about this the other day. He thinks he's going to be the second All Star. You know, the other Nugget who could potentially be an All Star, which I could agree. I mean, it just seems like a perfect fit. And I'll be completely honest, I was a huge Aaron Gordon hater when they first made that trade. I just didn't think it made a lot of sense, and just because he also wasn't the 3-point threat that he is a little bit more now. But just I
Wear and
loved-
tear. And,
yeah. I love the starting lineup. Of course, you got Murray, you got Christian Brown, you got now Cam Johnson and AG. But what they did to the back end, bringing Bruce Brown back is so huge. He was the biggest name when after they won the championship. It was like, God, you just hate to lose him. You know, he was such a key role player in that whole season for us. You bring in Tim Hardaway on that was a veteran minimum, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for absolutely nothing. You bring in again a guy who's got playoff experience, who's done the whole 82 game season, and then you bring in finally a backup for Jokic. You
Oh
bring in
my God.
Valanciunas, and
Which they did not play Darius Saric or DeAndre Jordan the entire playoffs.
I mean, and
The
you just-
entire playoffs.
You couldn't give Jokic a break. I mean, that's.
I know they're not great guys, but he needed a break.
100%. But it's also like you look at that Thunder series, and like that's why Game 7 goes the way Game 7 does. Like we were out of batteries, like completely. Just the whole team was. We had no Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther. Like
Goes Zags.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, bringing Valanciunas in, I think is just huge. You know, it just helped with a little bit on the wear and tear on Jokic, and I mean he was a very solid. What was he 10-7 for the Kings this year behind Sabonis? So.
Yeah.
You're getting 10-7. That's better than DeAndre Jordan and Saric. Like I almost can guarantee that.
Oh, much better upgrade for
Plus,
sure.
they have the first round pick Richard Holmes, or not Richard Holmes, Darius Holmes.
Daron
Holmes. Sorry, from kid from Dayton.
Yep.
Who tore his Achilles in summer league last year, and now had a decent summer league this year, and could be that
They got some
third
time.
post.
Yeah.
So they just the fact that I feel like we're much more in tune to go make a run at things, and the Nuggets last year just felt like we did nothing. It's just like what are we doing? We're wasting this peak. We have the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. Can't waste the potential. You have to go after it every single year because once it's over, we have no draft capital. Come 29, 2030, there's going to be some dog. It's going to be my Ty Lawson. Andre Iguodala. There's some rough years. Danilo Gallinari. There's some rough years.
Yeah, that's my guy. I love Danilo.
Yeah.
But now you
I'm
gotta
excited.
put into factor now. You have KD and the Rockets.
True. I know Houston's definitely the talk of the town.
Yeah.
I mean, KD there, Sengun.
DFS.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Finity.
Danny could talk all day about it now.
Yeah. So no, I'm not gonna get down that rabbit hole today.
I don't know. I mean, I still see the Thunder and the Nuggets as the two best team in the West.
I could agree to that.
Houston, absolutely, I would probably put third. But I don't know, better than Minnesota, of course, Warriors. Like I hear a lot more Warriors news now. It's like, God, it's sad being a Warriors fan now. It's just there's just not enough magic there anymore.
I was literally just on the phone with Trent last night. Can you name the Warriors starting lineup right now? Could either you?
It's Pod. Is he Kozinski? Yeah.
Pod. It's either Pod or Kuminga, or they might be both starting too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's their starting center? Anybody know?
Was it Post? Was it Quinn?
It was Quinn Post last year, but I'm not
yeah.
sure if he's still there.
Yeah, Draymond, I guess.
I guess Draymond, yeah.
Positionless.
Draymond's technically their center, yeah. But still, yeah, it's definitely a sad era for.
But then you got the
Warriors.
Mavs. I mean, no Kyrie for half the season, right?
Cooper Flag and AD always injured.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Clay.
Clay going to
Go.
open runs at Washington.
Yeah.
State,
Yeah, that was fucking.
Did you ever come there when you were there?
Yes, he did. he did something at the football game. It was the Wisconsin.
Oh
football game,
yeah.
believe.
I remember that. He came.
I don't know if he was the flag raiser or something.
He was like, yeah. I think he was a flag raiser, and he came on the field. I remember that.
So we get quick, just dapped him up basically. Didn't get to talk to him as much. I met him his sophomore year at Washington State. Me and my brother for our birthday. My dad got us tickets to go up to Washington State to see USC versus Clay Thompson. So it was like Taj Gibson, USC versus.
Damn.
It was a crazy game, and Cougs ended up winning. Clay played terrible, but that was really cool. And then I still got the picture. It's like me and my brother. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I love that photo.
So yeah, I mean, he's Clay's just, I mean, still probably my favorite NBA player ever. I mean, just watching his progression too, like into winning four championships, and it's him and Monte Ellis. They were talking about trading him to the Timberwolves. I remember, super early for Kevin Love, and it ended up not happening. And I mean, he was just the greatest when he was at Washington State. It was just so much fun to watch basketball, and I remember him playing in the Diamond Head Classic in the Hawaii tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had 40 points against Baylor. He had some incredible games at Washington State. So forever a fan for sure.
He also added something else to his arsenal this offseason in Megan Thee Stallion.
I saw that. Wow.
Dude, man's got some.
100%.
Because I got a picture with Laura Harrier at his retirement because he brought her there, and I'm like, man's been hopping, but man's got some fucking.
More power to you. More power to you.
Sheesh, man's got some clout there.
For sure. That's a lot to handle.
Really hope he gets into his own skin of being. I'm not sure if he can be a leader of the Mavs, but he's trying to just create his own identity with being on the Warriors for so long, being the splash brother to Steph for so long. Yeah. And so I'd really just hope he makes his own identity and
it'll be interesting.
Be a good 3-point shooter again.
How he kind of shapes this last kind of final. This is kind of the final stage of his career. So I mean, obviously he's probably done enough to be in a Hall of Fame at this point. But where does he want to find his legacy at?
Right.
Which is kind of been. He's always been a little bit of a kind of just a quiet kid. Kid in the back of the classroom doesn't really say too much. So it has been weird kind of seeing Clay a little bit more out in the public eye. That's like his number one enemy, I feel like, for his entire career.
That's true. That's true.
It's cool.
Lou, you got anything else to say?
Do the coaches ever get any runs in?
Oh, we play manager games.
I think I saw a snip one time you put on your Instagram. You're hitting
the UNC one.
Had to, yeah. So we play manager games, and it's manager because it's just like the support staff games.
Yeah.
So a lot of like GAs, and then any kind of younger staff member, and then if you do have managers, you play them. So we played. I think we ended up playing about 9 games this year, which is great. That was one cool thing because at the Pac-12, we really could probably only get like 2 games a year. It was only specific, like Arizona, Oregon, you could usually play, but usually you didn't travel enough. There wasn't a lot of passion behind it, but it's a really big deal in kind of the ACC,
That's
Big
sick.
10, and Big 12. So getting to we played in the Dean Dome. I had a career high 18 points, hit 6 threes.
Come on,
that was pretty big time.
Come on now.
Had a little 9-0 run. That was pretty awesome. And then let's see, where else we played? Played at Notre Dame. We played at Georgia Tech. Wow. We hosted SMU and NC State. We played Cal and a couple others. Oh, we played Pittsburgh. It was really cool though. It's the game we usually play the night before the game. I keep doing that. We usually play the night before the game, so it's kind of like you want to get the win and then walk into breakfast the next morning with the team and be like, "Don't worry, we're 1-0 already. We took care of business. Now it's time for you guys to do yours." But no, they're fun. A couple more coaches still play a little bit, and one of the cool things about Stanford, they have this thing called the $1 billion runs, where like Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, plays at the rec center on Stanford's campus. So it's a big deal. The net value of those games are probably just through the roof. I probably should show up to 1 or 2 of them. Just maybe try and fall into something.
Put your head in there.
But yeah, we have one coach, Jeremy Harden. He plays in those, so he still plays a little bit. So we don't do a ton. I would say like inner staff, stuff. It's not, we don't really play like threes or anything like during lunch break or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like our athletic trainer, my roommate, shout out Leary Jones. He's the head honcho for our manager team. He's about, I'm not joking, about 30 and 20, 30 and 15 for sure. So an absolute animal out there. Then our strength coach, Michael Robinson. He played at UCSD, so we have we've got a little bit of clout there, and he's our second best player for sure. And then it's like me, our photographer, our team videographer, our team equipment guy, and then our team like SID who handles like kind of the post game write ups and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So you don't have to be a top position to be good at it.
Absolutely
No.
no.
To be
And
playing.
I think we went 5-4, so we had a decent year, and we had a couple games where some players couldn't make it, so we were just a little shorthanded. That probably more like 7-3 ish, but yeah, they're super fun. It's a cool way. I mean, you get to play on the floor, in the
It's
arenas,
so sick.
it's
So sick,
pretty
bro.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish in a couple threes here and there, and that's about it. But I try and guard.
Knockdown shooter. Come
I had
on.
a block in North Carolina. That was probably first.
Let him hear about it
Hey,
too.
trust me, we did.
Come on.
Maybe said
Size
couple
just a
choice
number.
words for sure. Hate to be that guy, but gotta let him know.
Yes, sir. Damn right you do.
But, yeah,
We got more from Atlanta Tennis.
dude, this guy's caps, man. Please.
He did say, fellas, biases aside, go Sonics. Do you guys think that the talent pool within the NBA is deep enough to expand the NBA from 30 to 32 teams, especially with how competitive spot on an NBA roster is? And Tennis said, answer is yes. He answered his own question, I guess. Yeah, I think we all agree
Exactly,
there.
You're supposed to ask a question by just answering yourself, so now we have no room to.
Yeah, thanks.
What a genius idea from this tennis guy.
He also said Mac McClung deserves to be the 14th person on some NBA roster. I agree to that.
Who? Oh,
Mac McClung, the two-time dunk champion. Three-time? Three-time.
Two-time.
He's a G League
Two-time, right?
warrior.
Yeah, he's G League warrior. Yeah, I agree that we do an expansion completely. Just like I think the NFL is the best system of the 4 divisions in both conferences, or 4 divisions in each conference, and I think that's the best way to spread the talent pool, especially in NBA. There's so much talent out there, which is getting insane. I think we need to spread it out a little bit. Just like right now, we have a stacked West right now. It's just insane. The East is wide open, but long story short for that.
I would definitely agree. There's a lot of talent, and it's not even homegrown talent. Like there's so much talent overseas.
The international talent's gone
Euro
huge.
basketball and-
We did an entire episode on that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like the NBL, like Australian basketball is still a huge deal down there. It's a huge. I mean, shout out Ryan Rapp. I mean, he was just playing NBL.
Aussie.
But
Wait.
huge basketball culture down there. As well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And his brother, who just got transferred to Wisconsin,
Yeah.
he
that's big
plays
time.
WCC All Freshman at Portland State.
Yeah, no, he's an animal. He's like a little Jokic. I don't want to bump his ego too much because
Or not Portland State, UP, excuse me. But yeah, don't bump his ego.
Yeah. The Rapp family, as we all know, has really big heads.
Yeah.
Really
There's-
confident individuals. That
Sister was down at St. Mary's too, right?
yeah, St. Mary's,
Anna?
she played her last season at Santa Clara.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It's a big basketball family. I mean,
Yeah.
Dad Tim Rapp is in the
Hall of Fame at
UCSD.
yeah.
So yeah, I remember going there with Rapper.
Big heads at the Raps.
100%.
Yeah.
Not Tim though. I love Tim.
I never met Tim, sadly,
It's
but
Ozzy and Ryan that sometimes you gotta check 'em.
you gotta keep him in check.
For sure.
Preston, do you have any questions for us or Yana, or what do you want to make any comments?
Let's see. I do got a big one. I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's a serious one too, so quit. Thanks. Going from starting at the bottom, coaching staff wise, you're a peer to the players, right? As you're slowly moving your way up through the program, how does that relationship change? With the players, starting from being in the car with them all the time, showing up to their houses, getting them things, to now being one of the presences on the court. Friend wise, how does that dynamic change as you move up?
Yeah. No, I think definitely it's something I take a lot of time thinking about all the time. To be honest, obviously as a manager, I mean, with everybody in this room, the relationship that I was able to build with players, like you said, it was going on Walmart runs with them. It was.
Mhm.
It was setting up their phone bills. It was setting up their electricity in their apartments. There was a lot of hands-on always around them that, like, of course, you're just around them. And, I was still a college student and I was helping them kind of with the freshmen, the sophomores, like trying to get to know Pullman a little bit more, obviously had a little bit of experience of what college looked like. So early on as a manager, obviously it was just so much more hands-on. It was like, I would say naturally just kind of, it's hard not to become friends with them, if I'm doing my job correctly. Now, I think the biggest problem I ran into, like probably earlier on in my career was, I was a grad assistant at Hawaii, but I was younger than 7 players on the team, so I'm supposed to be in this a little bit more, I would say, disciplinary or a little bit more, authoritative role. Well, a lot of, especially my physical attributes, doesn't scream, that I'm going to be the most, demanding or, even the most strict human being. So always having to navigate that. And obviously there's some people that it's a little bit easier with, that are a little bit more, I would say, cooperative. There's some people that, they like to give you a little bit of shit. They like to, keep that dynamic a little more friendly. And I think there are a lot of pros that, I know what it was like just being these guys just like not long ago. Like obviously a lot of our coaching staff is a little bit older. I think our next oldest coach is 33. So there's a lot of, obviously a lot can change. The college lifestyle has changed so much that I can at least offer a little bit more, now finding the balance of being, that coach, being that more role model figure, and not as much, the, partying with the wolf or rap or something like that. It used to be. But now it's a lot more just like, all right, I want to be able to help because I want them to be like, know that I'm a person. I just went through this, man. Like as much as possible. Like I'm here to help. I get to talk to a lot of like former managers around the country that reach out to me via like LinkedIn or Instagram DM me, and I love those conversations too because it just reminds me of like, I always thought I was just right there with you. Like, and I was just thinking about how I don't have a job. I wanted to be a grad assistant so bad, and that it's just really hard. It's so competitive, and everybody from our players to support staff, like you're just in a very high pressure environment where you're on a 1 year deal. You never know when the opportunity is going to run out. So no, it's changed a ton. And I think one thing at Stanford, it's definitely a different college experience than Washington State. There's maybe not as much of that. Like I rarely am on campus ever, just for like where our office is positioned. Like everything athletically is kind of in one space. So I don't really run into our students that much, like in the classroom, like I would say, like walking home from from work, back to the apartments or whatever, Washington State, or you're just so much more in the thick of it at Washington State that now it's probably a little bit easier for me. I'm a lot more in like a athletic department kind of environment where I'm seeing more coaches from other programs more than I'm seeing our players. So that helps naturally. But again, I mean, I hope I'm a good guy to be around. I've always tried to do the best possible. Be energetic and be a positive light at practice, and just be more motivated than one of the foundational things Coach Smith forever told me was be a fountain and not a drain, and that's something I've tried to take as much pride in. And like as you guys see when I'm on the sidelines, I might be a little bit of a jackass, a little bit loud, but I want to bring energy to the situation, and I lose the ego, check all that at the door. Like I just want to have the most fun possible being out there, and it really is so much fun. Like watching these guys succeed and develop into what they end up doing it's so cool and special. And if I ever have kids or something one day, it would be so cool just to be like, yeah, that Jalen Wells guy, like, he's a good friend. He's coming over for dinner next Saturday or something. That's just the really cool part about it all. And the fact that some of these guys I've been able to get to introduce to you guys, and you guys been able to get to see meet them and know who they are as a person, just outside of just competing too. These are really good individuals. Yaki, there's been some very different.
We had some different guys.
Yaki,
FA,
very different countries, very backgrounds. But yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, this guy's seen so much. We've had him back in the podcast twice. Like, we hate this guy, dude. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
I know.
This is always a treat. It is, I love what you guys are doing, and I do tune in as much as possible. If I see you guys are going live, I'm not gonna be as annoying as Landon Tennis has been in this whole deal. I'll maybe block him or maybe delete him from the but no, it's awesome seeing you guys do your thing, and I'm glad. In some ways, we're living the same dream of just living the life of basketball, which is really cool. So love always chatting. Love you fellas.
Yeah, we love you too, brother. We're the biggest fans of you, obviously, too, dude. I never figured I'd pay attention to ACC basketball in my life. I watched a lot of Stanford games last year looking for you, and never thought I'd pay that much attention to ACC basketball outside of the tournaments. So, yeah, dude, we're your biggest fan. We're hopefully we'll definitely get you on here. Definitely more. This is just the beginning of it. Maybe not a lot of listeners now that have been letting fucking tennis, but it'll be huge, and we'll be here from the beginning. Absolutely.
Awesome, guys.
Anything? Denny, you got anything?
We're all building a dynasty.
Damn straight.
Let's keep going.
I love it. I love that, Denny.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Well, that's all we got. Mr. Yano, thanks for joining us again.
Pleasure.
Preston, thanks for joining us as well.
Anytime.
Yep, just in the background there. The goat Lou.
The goat Lou.
And with that,
Go Cougs, go Carb.
Go Cougs, go
Nice.
Card, go M's.
Baby.
The bank is closed, baby.
Until next time.
Peace.
Peace.